A spouse of Deputy President of Kenya. Thank you very much, ma. Please go to the stage. Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate, we celebrate you. I would also like to call Madam Irene Nambule Samulozila, Commissioner of Oath in Zambia. Where is Madam? I was told them. Oh, yes, thank you very much. And I am moderating this panel. If I need you to look at time for me, 20 minutes. Yes, I'm moderating this panel. We are hungry, aren't we, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, we are hungry. So we will do this in 20 minutes. Thank you very much. We thank you for your time. We've all been talking about widows. Are we talking about widows? Are we talking about divorcee? You know, it is a session. It is a conversation for widows. But I want you to just quickly spend 1 minute each, if you can, or 2 minutes each, and let us know what have you been doing as it relates to the empowerment. Economic empowerment is something that is very key, because once we make women financially independent, you know, you've secured their future for them. So I want you to quickly look at economic empowerment, widows in economic landscape, the policies and the strategies we need to put together to ensure that we include them in participation and in everything we do. So 2 minutes, each of you, please tell us what, you know, your thoughts are with regards to this. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. All protocols observed, and good afternoon to everybody. I believe that economic empowerment of women should start with a psychological mindset, where when she starts by grieving, you change her mindset from what everyone has been speaking about. I believe that a woman who has just lost her husband just loses a partner. She does not lose her intelligence. She does not lose her hands. She does not lose her capacity to be able to work. She's just a woman who is now without the husband by her side. And she does not turn into a beggar. She's not a poor woman. She does not need sympathy. What she needs is empowerment, opportunities that you give to this woman so that she can continue with her life. When the husband is alive, whether this woman is a housewife or even a professional woman, you find that the woman works around the man to make things happen. The fact that the man has died, he does not die with the mind of the woman. And therefore, I think what we need is to facilitate and make sure that this woman is resourced in the right way. And I believe that there should be, one of the things that can help us is to help the women to form cooperatives and to form circles and to form CBOs and groupings that will be able to socialize the women into ways they can be able to harness the potential that this woman has and the other women, and to have a voice and to bring together that potential and then their initiative to become something that the nation can start to dialogue and converse about. That is what we are doing in Kenya. When we came to office as the spouse of the deputy president, one of the things that I did, because I come from a background where my mother has been was widowed for 45 years. And I saw her struggle in bringing up 8 children. She never was a victim. She was a very strong woman. And she was able to start businesses. She was able to establish herself as a woman in business, as a woman in advocacy. And I can tell you, we came to where we are because my mother did not find herself a victim. And I believe that in Africa, because we have a serious enterprise, and women are very enterprising. And what we need as Africans is to come with a policy where the widow is centered in areas of business, in areas of investment. And I believe like we come here today as an African Union, they should start to establish a fund where women can be able to borrow without all these hindrances and to be able to be financed to do, to conduct business in mining. That is what we are doing. Today in Kenya, we have licenses for women artisanal miners who can now mine and come together and become bigger mining companies. We don't need people from outside to do that. So, in fact, what you need is to get the woman empowered economically by making her mindset become what it ought to be, a great entrepreneur.
You know, I follow you, by the way. I know about you. I know your trajectory. I know what Kenya is doing for women, and that's why you're always topping the list of inclusion. And I know that you have passion for widows. I follow you, you know, through Madam Karungaru. I follow you passionately. And I think a lot of African countries need to emulate and do what you're doing. She lost her husband. She has not lost her mind. That's what she said. That's all I'm taking away. Because she has lost her husband doesn't mean she has lost her mind. So what you need to do is to harness her mind, empower her mind, finance her mind, facilitate her mind, let them get into cooperatives, policies of investment. Because once you keep this intact, and I'm always talking about to Hope about this, once you keep this thing intact, she will perform miracles for you. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Madam Irene Nambule, Commissioner of Oath, Zambia. In 2 minutes, tell us what you're doing and what we need to do, because it's about actions now for us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. All protocol observed. Firstly, thank you. I am so honored and humbled to have been invited to speak in this forum, very important forum. I'm not a widow, and by the way, I'm quite young. From the age of about 25, I started dealing with cases involving women that were in distress. In distress because they were going through a divorce. In distress because they just lost a husband and didn't know where to start. And these women were from different parts of the world. Not just Zambians, but also Italians, British, Americans, you name it. So when it came to dealing with widows, I was seeing that there was a common thread. It was women all of a sudden losing themselves, losing their voice, losing their minds. So I thought that there was something that I could do about it. My own mother was not a widow, but I saw that potentially that could be me being a widow, being a divorcee. So what I started doing was holding these safe spaces for widows where women could be themselves. So let's not forget that at the point that someone is losing their husband, the world shuts down. They can't think, they can't, the emotional turmoil cannot be explained unless you've been through it. So I created a safe space where women could come. I would provide their lunch. I would have all these food hampers for them, just so that we could talk about their issues. Emotional healing, psychological healing. And I was surprised to see that as years went on, some of the women remarried, which was good. And their emotions were whole, complete. An emotionally imbalanced woman cannot be a good mother. So let's not forget that apart from being a widow, a woman is also a mother. There are some that lose their spouses and still have these children to take care of. How will they show up for these women? Because now they are mommy and daddy. So how are they going to effectively parent if they are mourning, if they are crying, and there's no safe space where they can pour out and be poured back into? So that's what we started doing, and that work has grown in Zambia over the years. And I've come to realize that an economic voice for a woman is very important, whether in widowhood, whether as a married woman, or whether as a young girl. Economic empowerment is crucial, very crucial. You know, when we talk about gender-based violence, we should see the type of, sometimes the type of women that are subject to the gender-based violence. It is a woman who is sitting at home, not using her brain, not using her hands, not doing anything at all, and is expecting to just receive this. It's like she's just a receiver of finances.
Thank you.
But when a woman rises up, just 1 minute, when a woman rises up, uses her hands, uses her brain to make money, a lot of money, by the way, just from making necklaces, making chitenges.
Absolutely.
She is economically empowered, and widowhood will not crush her.
Thank you very much, Madam Irene. You know what I love? The fact that you broke down what economic empowerment is, because oftentimes we use these phrases and people are wondering, what are we talking about? You've helped them to protect their mind, right? You've given them a safe space, and they've been able to talk and protect their mind towards, you know, you're healing them towards economic empowerment. And once we have been able to give them that safe space and their mind is now stable, we now need to come back to financially working on that mind. You spoke about establishing fund for women. You spoke about licenses that you've given. Women have licenses to mine in Kenya. What else are those practical things that we can do for widows? And I'm wondering, what influenced this decision, this passion that you have? I know you've spoken about your mother-in-law, but what is that passion, you know, and what else do we need to do practically for widows?
I think what influenced me was my own mother. Having been a widow for 45 years, she died about 3 years ago, and bringing up a family all by herself and encouraging us, bringing us up, and encouraging us to see her as the breadwinner and helping all of us to be able to caress about her and to think not her as a victim. And that is what has actually influenced. Coming to the investment by the widow, I think this is something Africa has to think very seriously, and we have to work with financial institutions that believe in the African woman, because the African woman, when it comes to areas of agriculture, from forestry, you find they are the most. They are the keepers of environment. And today we have very many opportunities where it comes to carbon credit, and some of them may not be victims where you do not have land. And you can also lease land and can be able to start tree nurseries that you can be able to sell these trees. You can also go to fisheries where we can be able to invest in them for those who are near the lakes, where they can have ponds. This is what we are doing in Kenya. In Migori, for example, we have financed widows, because we talked about this culture and where the women are not treated very well, and they have to do some indecent practices for them to be able to put food for the table, on the table for their children. And therefore, instead of sex for fish, we are establishing a decent trade for them, where they can have fish in the ponds, and they can be able to economic, they can have livelihood from there. Others, we are doing the tree nurseries with them. Others, we are showing them how to do even housing schemes, because it is possible for women to go for mega businesses. if the women come together in circles and they contribute towards a circle, it is possible for them to have mega businesses and to be able to sustain their families and to get rid of this victim mentality where the mindset is that everyone points as a widow woman as a poor woman. I can tell you, even from where we are sitting, we have the wives of former presidents and all that. These are not poor women. And what we are doing is bringing those different cadres of women and being able to bring them together, because some of them, they have gone to school formally, others it is informal learning, and I believe that the entrepreneurship of a woman is able to lift her to the status of being able to liberate herself and to become not only economically viable, but politically active, and be able also to lead in her environment. And that, to me, is very important.
Thank you very much. We have 5 more minutes for this panel. I'm going to come to you. She spoke about dignity in widowhood. You see, when you beg, you know, there's a way people look down on you. And that is what I'm hearing here, that you provide housing schemes, invest in facilities, because there's dignity in widowhood. Investment and collateral are big issues for women. But when you set up those cooperatives and you go as a voice, government voice, policymakers, and approach banks, then they can provide the funding. I'll give you just 1 minute, please, to say what you have to say, because we have questions from the audience. So 1 minute, please.
Right. So when it comes to policies and strategies for economic empowerment for widows, it's not just about lobbying governments, but also ensuring that widows have the right financial information. The government will provide the platform, but do you know how to use the platform? So it's about financial education. And I really like what she said, education. Investment, being investment minded.
Thank you very much. We will take questions now. Please, straight to the point. We're hungry.
Mama Dorcas, happy to listen to you, happy to celebrate you as a widow advocate. My name is Roslyn Orwa. I am a widow and a widow champion. I work with the Rona Foundation and I support Madam President Hope in communication with the African Widows Summit. When Madam Hope invited us, the Kenyan widows, to the summit to join, I first questioned, will Africa listen? And seeing my own second lady today here gives me hope that Africa will listen and Kenya will listen, Madam President. I just want to congratulate Madam Dorcas and thank on behalf of Kenyan widows. Becoming a widow at the age of 32 in the post-election violence, creating the Kenyan widows movement. We are, I think, thousands. Esther was asking me how many. We are thousands of us. Electing widows in my county. 3 out of 4 women elected in my county are widows on our network. Passing the SEA Widows Protection Bill. We are reforming the African space as widows. And Madam Dorcas, we thank you for leading us, bring us together, the Kenyan widows. We are the evidence in the African region of what reforming the African space for widows is. And I just want to thank you. Thank you, Madam Hope.
Thank you very much for that. I think what I'm hearing here, I know tomorrow is a big day for everybody. Hope. I know tomorrow is a big day for everybody where you're going to announce who is hosting the second African Widows Summit. I'm going to put a pitch in. Kenya has to host this. With everything you're doing for widows, you need to show Africa. And like she said, you're seated here. The president of Zanzibar was here. The first lady is here. Decision makers have turned up today for this first event. The sky is the stepping stone. The sky is a stepping stone. Any other question or comment from the audience?
Question, please? Let's keep it short and straight to the point.
Comment, question from the audience? None? Thank you very much. I'll come over to you, and I just want to hear what you have to say finally before we call it a day for this panel. Thank you.
I want to say this is a beginning where widows can be viewed as women There is no loss of womanhood. One time I heard that once you lose a husband, you lose your womanhood. Actually, you don't. Actually, it is enhanced. According to what I know, and as a pastor, I know you gain even more power and authority. And what you need is to contain yourself within that space and know that maybe your partner is not there. And if you can be able to master your mind and start to move the way you are still moving, those who are housewives, they have been feeding their families for a very long time. You are an entrepreneur, par excellence, and you must appreciate yourself. You must affirm yourself. You don't lose your identity because your husband has gone. And those ones who will feel that they want to remarry, the Holy Books allow that. Yes. But those who want to stay without your husband and you want to take care of your family, just get into agriculture, get into fishery, whatever you put your mind to do, I can tell you, you will succeed. Thank you.
Very interesting.
Your 1 minute.
Thank you. From the United Nations Strategic Development Goals to the African Union, the African Charter on Human Rights, most of the African nations have got written constitutions, and what you will find is that the deliberate policies and programs and laws that are aimed at safeguarding the rights of women. When it says women, it's not segregating a divorced or widowed woman, it's women. Time to take advantage of those provisions is now. It's time for action by ourselves, not waiting for somebody else to come and push us into that action. Let's do sustainable agriculture.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I need to call it a day because I think this is the most viable. I know if we
don't go there.
If we put this into debate, you will know that we have delivered.
No, so don't go there. Please put your hands together
before we go. The organizers, I know you're going to come up with a communique. Please, you need to listen to what they said on this panel. Establish desk for African women, widows at AU and UN. Financial institutions must invest in widows.
Exactly.
Invest in schemes and facilities for widows. Widows must be viewed as women. She lost her mind, she has not lost. She lost her husband, she has not lost her mind. And Nkanya 2025.
All right,
thank you very much
for them.
Thank you very much.
Just stand by, there's a little something for you. Let's call on the founder to step up. Choose whoever you want to come present this with you. Choose. Yes. You have your choice. Tabia, where is Rose? Please step up. All right then, someone is volunteering. Rose is here. So someone has said to us that it might be Kenya. So ma'am, begin to plan towards that. Let's hope it falls on you and you have everybody converge on Kenya as it is.
Please put your hands together
Put your hands
for
together,
this vibrant team. Thank you very much, Kenya.
Great.
Thank you.